The story begins with Hae-sung sleeping on the school's rooftop when he sees a rocket in the sky and falls down. Suddenly, a bunch of other students arrive, and he notices that they do not belong to his school, but their uniforms are similar. Hae-sung quickly rushes toward his classroom but realizes he can't recognize any of the kids. The teacher arrives and notices that Sung is wearing their 10-year-old school uniform. He asks the students if Sung belongs there, and they say no. Confused and scared of getting caught, Hae-sung rushes outside and sees that the year is 2017. He is 12 years in the future, so he quickly thinks about his family and runs toward his house. Meanwhile, Jung-won, Sung's girlfriend from 12 years ago, is traveling by bus in the same area. As the bus stops, she sees Sung from the corner of her eye and quickly tells the driver to stop. She gets off, but a train arrives and blocks her path. She waits for it to pass, but Sung disappears. Hae-sung finally arrives at his home, but he doesn't recognize anything. When he enters the house, he sees someone else's family picture instead of his. Hae-sung is confused and scared at the same time. He is about to leave the premises when the house owner arrives. The man grabs Sung by the collar, thinking he's a thief. Sung tries to explain, but a single shove sends the man flying into the wall. Sung has superpowers. He apologizes to the owner and picks up the fruit, but the old bastard hits Sung in the head. Meanwhile, Sung's friends are mourning at his grave. It's been 12 years since he passed. Hae-sung wakes up in the hospital, and a police officer tells him he was trespassing. The officer asks for his birth date, and Sung replies that he was born in 1987. The officer thinks he's joking and takes him to the police station. Hae-sung insists that he was born in 1987, and the officer gets annoyed, thinking he's just trying to cover up something. The officer decides to check the records, and to his surprise, Sung really was born in 1987. He tells him he looks very young, but the officer nearly shits his pants when he sees that Sung was declared dead in 2005. Scared and clueless, the officer tells him to wait and leaves. Meanwhile, Sung's wound starts itching. The officer goes outside, trying to process what he just saw, and Sung's friend Shin arrives. He's a senior officer. The man tells Shin what happened, but Hae-sung has already left the office. Sung goes to the washroom and takes off the bandage, seeing that his wound is completely healed. Confused, he covers his head with his hair. Just as he's about to leave, he accidentally bumps into another officer. Turns out the officer is Shin. He instantly recognizes his childhood friend after seeing Sung's name tag. Sung is happy to see someone who knows him, but Shin isn't. He had just returned from visiting Sung's grave. Shin stumbles and falls to the ground. Sung tries to talk to him and asks a heap of questions, but Shin passes out, thinking the ghost is about to take him out. Shin takes Hae-sung to the kitchen and gives him noodles. However, he is still scared, so he touches him with trembling hands. But Shin is relieved after touching Hae-sung, realizing he is real. Sung asks about Jung-won, wondering how she is doing and where she is. Shin replies that they don't have any contact with her. Sung asks why they would do such a thing. Shin says that it happens in life, but he then questions Hae-sung if he remembers anything about that day, the day he died in a car accident. Sung says he remembers everything. Turns out they were preparing for their graduation pictures, and Sung was enjoying his time with Jung-won. However, nobody was expecting what was about to happen on Sung's birthday. The next day, he cooked food for his family but noticed that his younger brother had already left for school. He was the top student in his class, and everyone wanted him to become a doctor. It was also Hae-sung's birthday, and Jung-won was waiting for him when Sung playfully bonked her on the head. They left for school together, and after arriving, Sung went to give his younger brother his breakfast. But when he reached his class, one of the classmates told him that Young-jun had been bullied. He rushed to his brother and found him severely beaten. Sung tried to comfort him, but Yoon was pissed because they had beaten him up due to Sung. Hae-sung quickly rushed to his classroom, where he found Cheol and kicked his ass. He told Cheol that he would kill him, and Kyung Cheol pissed him off even more by saying that his younger brother wasn't even his real brother. The classmates barely managed to separate the two. That night, Sung ditched his work to buy a present for Jung-won, but it turned out she was already at his house, planning to surprise him. Hae-sung called her and said he was heading to her house, but Jung-won covered it up by saying she had left her wallet in the school's art room and asked him to bring it. They would meet at his house later. Turns out they still needed some time to prepare for the birthday. So, Hae-sung went to the school to get the wallet, but he didn't find anything and decided to leave. He accidentally stepped on someone's toe and, to his shock, saw Kyung Cheol lying unconscious on the floor with blood everywhere. Hae-sung propped him against the locker and tried to wake him, but he didn't respond, so Sung got on his bicycle to get help. But things took a dark turn when a speeding car hit Hae-sung. Back at his house, everyone was ready to surprise him, but Jung-won wondered what was taking him so long. Suddenly, the wind blew open the door, and they thought it was Sung, but he was already far gone. After remembering everything, Hae-sung went outside, depressed, and coincidentally, Jung-won was also standing on the other side of the road. A train passed by once again, and this time, neither of them noticed the other. Jung-won grabbed a taxi to leave while Sung walked toward the tracks. Shin came looking for Sung, but Jung-won had already left. He found Sung, and Hae-sung started crying, asking if he was still dead. In frustration, Sung started running when a car appeared once again, reminding him of what happened 12 years ago. But this time, Shin saved him. Hae-sung asked Shin if he was a ghost and then started screaming, which destroyed the whole street. Shin decided to take him to his grave and explained that his grandma had died 12 years ago. However, he didn't have any contact info for his other siblings, though he knew where the youngest brother worked. Sung got excited and asked where he worked, so the two went to the office. When they reached the office, Sung mentioned that his youngest brother was a lazy ass and asked what kind of work he did. Shin tried to dodge the question when a lady called out to him. Her name was Jae-young, and she was one of their classmates. She saw Sung's name tag and asked if he was Sung Hae-sung. Sung smiled, and the lady fainted in disbelief. However, a strange man nearby also noticed Sung's presence. Sung couldn't do anything but watch, so they decided to change his appearance. He changed his clothes and wore a cap to go to his brother's place. On the way, a man bumped into him. There were 3 of them, and the moneylender told Hae-chul, Sung's brother, to teach him a lesson. Hae-chul beat the crap out of him. They went inside, and Hae-sung followed them. The moneylender told Hae-chul he needed to collect money from someone. Hae-chul was happy until he found out it was Jung-won. Meanwhile, Hae-sung started hearing noises and discovered his new ability. He could hear anyone from anywhere. He used this ability to track Hae-chul and overheard him telling the moneylender that he couldn't take money from Jung-won. So, the two started beating Hae-chul, and Hae-sung rushed in and opened the door. Hae-chul didn't recognize him and quickly dashed out while the moneylender tried to follow. But Sung grabbed his wrist and sent him flying into a shelf. The other thug picked up a metal bat, but Ha-sung beat him too. He asked where Hae-chul was heading, and the man gave him the location. Ha-sung got on a bus to go to Jung-won's house. However, the same old man from before was on the bus and asked Sung if he was new here. Hae-sung got confused as the man asked how long he had been here, as if he knew about his powers. Hae-sung didn't answer, and the man got off at his stop. Meanwhile, Jung-won was working at the restaurant. Min-jun was talking to someone and Jung-won messed everything up while listening in. Min went to the rooftop and Jung-won followed. She asked if he wasn't going to Paris because of her, and Min confirmed it. Suddenly, Jung-won started going off about how foolish Min was to think she'd fall for him. As she left, he accidentally dropped the page where she had written her speech. Min-jun read it and started smiling. Everyone played games during break, but Jung-won didn't join. At night, when everyone left, the head chef told her to clean up before going. Meanwhile, Hae-sung had already reached her place and was waiting for her when a car pulled up. He stood up, but it turned out to be the moneylenders and their goons. They beat Hae-sung mercilessly and left him nearly dead. As this happened, Jung-won finished work and headed home. When she arrived, she saw the blinking light, and there, she found the unconscious body of Hae-sung. She drops her bag, completely shocked. She can't believe what she's seeing. She brings Hae-sung to her apartment and tries to call emergency services, but stops when she hears him quietly say her name. She puts down the phone, grabs the first aid kit, and starts treating his injuries. As she wraps his wounds, she stares out the window, thinking back to the day everything changed. Back then, while everyone else was heading to the cemetery, Jung-won ran to the photo studio. Hae-sung's classmates were already there, confused about where she went. Moon-sik blamed her for everything. Hae-sung's grandmother began to cry. Then Jung-won showed up and gave the old woman a photo, saying a smiling picture of Hae-sung would be better. Everyone there broke down in tears. Now, in the present, Jung-won gets ready to leave for work and leaves a note behind for Hae-sung. Once she's gone, his wounds begin healing fast. But instead of going to work, Jung-won meets her friend Jin-ju at a park and tells her she doesn't want to go home or deal with work. Jin-ju figures something must have happened at her place. Maybe debt collectors showed up. Her phone rings, and she steps away to answer it. It's Shin Ho-bang. He says he has something important to tell her. Jin-ju threatens him for messing around, but he tells her to be quiet and drops the news. Hae-sung is alive. She's shocked, and he tells her to bring Jung-won with her since he's calling everyone together. Later, they all gather at Shin's place. When Jung-won and Jin-ju arrive, everyone starts assuming Jung-won had been hiding Hae-sung the whole time. Meanwhile, Hae-sung wakes up in the apartment and calls out, but no one responds. He finds the note Jung-won left, telling him to go to the hospital. He doesn't realize it's from her. As he turns around with a glass of water, he sees her photos on the wall and smiles. Shin tells everyone that he saw Hae-sung with his own eyes and even shows them his uniform as proof. He swears he wouldn't go this far just to joke about a dead friend. He urges everyone to be careful, saying Hae-sung could be a ghost or something supernatural. Jung-won suddenly remembers last night and realizes it was truly Hae-sung lying there. She runs back home, but when she gets there, she doesn't see him and assumes he's gone. Just then, Hae-sung steps out of the bathroom. She's stunned, and he's full of joy to finally see her again. Their moment is interrupted by the landlady, who barges in. She demands to know who the boy is, and Young-won lies, saying he's her younger cousin. The landlady starts yelling about unpaid rent, saying it's been 3 months. Hae-sung gets angry and tells her to shut up, but Young-won holds him back and promises to pay next week. The landlady leaves, and Hae-sung is furious. He asks how she's been surviving, taking loans and avoiding bills. At the restaurant, her co-worker tells the head chef that Young-won hasn't shown up, and Min-jun overhears. He decides to check on her and finds her sitting on a bench. He asks if she's quitting, but she says she's just worried about the debt. While walking home, Hae-sung spots them chatting. Min jokes that the chef might break her legs for skipping work. As Min walks away, Sung approaches Jung-won and gives her 2 completely melted popsicles. He accuses her of lying to him when they were younger and demands an apology. But Young-won takes it seriously and begins to cry, thinking he came back only for that. Hae-sung tries to explain it was a joke, but she tells him to leave and walks off. He goes to the riverbank, remembering the time after he died. Kids would throw rocks at his house, calling him a murderer. Young-won had yelled at them to stop, defending him. Back at the apartment, Hae-sung decides to leave, but just outside he runs into his younger brother, Hae-cheol. Hae-cheol panics and tries to run but trips. He apologizes and tells Hae-sung to go away. Hae-sung asks why he became a gangster, and Hae-cheol says it's all he could do, being known as the brother of a murderer. Hae-sung is stunned as his brother runs off. He calls Shin and demands to know if he was really the murderer. Shin avoids the topic at first, but when they meet, he explains that people assumed it was Hae-sung because of the blood on him. After his death, Young-won blamed herself and stopped going to school. She thought she caused his death by messing around with him. Shin also says that when Hae-sung's grandmother was in the ICU, only Young-won took care of her, and she had to borrow money from everyone to manage. Hae-sung realizes how wrong he's been. He rushes back to Young-won and tells her he made a mistake. He says she's not to blame for anything, and he's not a murderer. He wants her to stay by his side from now on. Hae-sung hugs Young-won and she starts crying. After a moment, he asks if she's okay with him staying over, since it's a single woman's apartment. Young-won says it's not a problem. Hae-sung offers to leave if she wants, but Young-won tells him to sleep on the couch while she'll use her room. She still thinks he's the same pervert from before, and remembers how people used to call him overly obsessed with that stuff. Hae-sung senses what she's thinking. They start cleaning the apartment together. While helping out, Hae-sung accidentally picks up her underwear. Later, they try to watch TV, but there's no signal, so they decide to rest. Jung-won stumbles and knocks over a bottle. Hae-sung picks it up and realizes it's the bottle cap from the drink they shared back in Seoul. The memory hits. Young-won had once asked Hae-sung to go with her to Seoul. He could tell something was bothering her. She told him she found her mother's address. She lives in Seoul. They went together, and Young-won saw her mother for the first time in 7 years. But her mother was already living happily with a new family. Young-won tried to talk to her, but the woman panicked at seeing the daughter she had abandoned. She told Young-won to go away. Her husband came out and asked who Young-won was. Her mother lied and said she was just looking for a friend's place. They left Young standing there. Hae-sung got angry and smashed their car's windshield with a brick. A police officer saw it and chased them. Young-won fell, but Hae-sung helped her run away. He patched her up when they got home. That night, she wanted a beer, but Hae-sung reminded her they were underage and still in school uniforms. She got up despite her injury, so Hae-sung gave in and went to quietly grab a can from a sleeping shop owner. Jung-won joked about police being around, which scared him. After drinking, Hae-sung pulled off the can ring and put it on her finger. The next day, he walked her to the bus stop and told her he would meet his brother after a long time. But when Hae-cheol saw him, he ran, thinking it was a ghost. Shin stopped him and told him to talk to his brother. Hae-sung asked Cheol to call the gangsters. When they arrived, Hae-sung beat them up using his powers, throwing them like toys. He warned them to leave his brother alone, never show up again, and forget about charging Young-won any more interest. The gangsters agreed. He left with Cheol, and they sat in a park. Hae-sung said things could be different now, but Cheol didn't believe it. He said no one would give him a job because he's a killer's brother. Hae-sung explained he didn't kill anyone. When he got to the school, Kyung Cheol was already knocked out, and while he went to get help, he was hit by a car. Cheol said nobody would believe that, and he walked away. Shin later joined and told Cheol to eat with them. Elsewhere, Min-jun and Jung-won were at a restaurant when Seowon showed up with Yong-jun, Hae-sung's brother. He was there to meet Min-jun. Back with Hae-sung, Shin gave him a new phone and told Cheol to add his number. Cheol did, and suddenly got a call from his girlfriend. Hae-sung teased him and asked if he could add more contacts. Cheol said he didn't know any others because the siblings all went their separate ways. Jun never contacted anyone after joining med school. Young-in graduated and moved to Seoul, and Suji was taken in by someone else. Hae-sung got mad hearing how June abandoned everyone after going to med school. He decided to go find him. Meanwhile, June met Min-jun and saw Jung-won working there. He went to speak to her. He told her he's a doctor now at Seong Hospital, and the girl with him is his fiancée, the daughter of the hospital owner. Jung-won congratulated him and asked him for a favor. June said no one knows he has siblings, so she should keep it that way. Jung-won agreed, but warned him that if the others found out, especially Hae-sung, he'd lose it. June didn't care. He told her to forget the past and move on. He returned to the hospital, but trouble was on its way. Hae-sung had reached the hospital. While June was having tea with his fiancée and her mother, a nurse told him a student named Hae-sung was here. June froze in fear. Hae-sung walked in and told June that his brother was back, but June didn't want anyone to know, so he acted like he didn't recognize him and called security. They pushed Hae-sung out, but he kept shouting that he was June's older brother. June kept pretending. Hae-sung lost it, threw the guards aside, and walked up to June, who was now shaking on the floor. Suddenly, the old man appears again. Hae-sung tries to push him away, but the old man does not even move. He has powers like Sung, but stronger. He grabs Hae-sung and takes him to the parking lot. He throws Hae-sung into a pillar and then onto a car windshield. The old man warns Sung to be careful and not to be reckless, or everyone will be in danger. Hae-sung asks the old man's name, but the man leaves. Then Hae-sung gets a call from Shin. Shin is with Jin-ju, but Hae-sung can't hear Shin because his phone is broken. Hae-sung stands up and waits for his wounds to heal. At night, he goes to pick up Jung-won. While waiting, Min-jun comes out and asks if Hae-sung is waiting for someone. Hae-sung says he is waiting for Jung-won. Jung-won comes out too. Min-jun asks who the young man is. Jung-won says Hae-sung is her younger cousin. Min-jun greets him, but Hae-sung does not like the rich kid. After Min-jun leaves, Hae-sung tells Jung-won he wants to drink a beer. She asks why, and he repeats the same words she said the first time they drank. Hae-sung tries to buy a beer but is too young. He puts it back and asks Jung-won to buy it. She teases him but agrees. Hae-sung drinks the whole bottle fast but says he is fine. After a few minutes, he gets drunk and starts teasing people on the street. He calls an old man Baldy. Then he and Jung-won run away before they cause trouble. Jung-won takes him home and says he has the worst hangover. While drunk, Hae-sung tells her he met Cheol and Young-jun today. Jung-won asks what his brother said, and Hae-sung says he ruined Cheol's life. Young-jun looks at him like a stranger. Hae-sung says if he had known his siblings would be so ungrateful, he would have enjoyed high school more. As the oldest sibling, he thought taking care of others was his main job. So he gave up his school life for them, but now they do not care. Then he falls asleep. The next moment, he wakes up and sees his childhood friends around him. Everyone is shocked to see him. Moonsik asks if he remembers them. Hae-sung says he remembers all of them. Jin-ju hugs him. Everyone has tears in their eyes because they are happy to see each other. The next day, Hae-sung goes with Shin to the place where he was hit by a car. He tells Shin he was riding his bike fast, and there were no lights when the car came from his left. Shin tells him the car belonged to Tae-hoon's father, but during the police investigation, Tae-hoon said his driver was driving. No one saw the accident. Then Cheol arrives and wants to kill whoever hit Hae-sung. He says he and Suji were at home. Jung-won was at the police station, and Grandma was at the hospital with Young-in. Young-jun was missing and arrived late that night. Shin says Jun told the police that all of them were home and he was in his room. This makes them think Young-jun might be involved. At the restaurant, Jung-won throws trash into the bin, but the bag tears and trash spills. She starts to clean up when her mother appears. Her mother says she has been looking for her for years. Jung-won says she is living a happy life and her mother does not need to look for her. Her mother knows Jung-won is struggling and tries to give her money for debt, but Jung-won refuses, saying she is rich because she is about to marry the restaurant's boss. Her mother thinks she is lying, but Min-jun hears and says he is going to marry Jung-won. Her mother is impressed and wants to talk with Min-jun, but he says the restaurant has no free tables. He takes Jung-won away. At night, Jung-won waits for Min-jun to thank him for helping. She starts crying because she always tries to act tough, but cannot. She leans on Min-jun, but Hae-sung arrives and sees them. Hae-sung thinks he should not have come and leaves the two of them. After a moment, Min-jun lets Jung-won go. Jung-won thanks Min-jun for his help. He asks if she can go home alone, and she says yes. She takes the bus and feels happy that Hae-sung is cooking food. Hae-sung says he is making spicy rice cake, and Jung-won wants some too. They eat together. She asks why Hae-sung is not eating, and he says he already ate. Jung-won tells him her mother came to her restaurant and offered money because she is poor. Jung-won did not accept the money, and told her mother she is happy and will marry the CEO. Her mother saw through her lie. Then her boss came and said they were getting married soon. Hae-sung feels sad, but Jung-won says it will be strange if she marries the boss. She also says she has no real relationship with him. Hae-sung feels relieved. Suddenly, Hae-sung asks why Jung-won is so careless. She has no food at home and all the medicine is expired. He also asks why she takes so much medicine. Jung-won feels shy. Hae-sung encourages her not to get sick. At night, Hae-sung sits alone, thinking if Young-jun was really home when the accident happened. Jung-won comes to drink water. Hae-sung asks if everyone was home then. She says Young-jun was not, but the report says he was. She told the police everyone except Young-jun was home. She goes to her room, and Hae-sung thinks finding the culprit may be useless now. The next day, Hae-sung cleans when he gets a call from Shin Ho-bang, but every time he touches his phone, it blacks out. Shin calls Jung-won instead. Hae-sung cannot touch her phone, or it will black out too. Jung-won holds the phone to Hae-sung's ear. Shin says Hae-sung cannot come to his house because his father is coming. He asks Jung-won if Hae-sung can stay with her, and she agrees. She leaves for work. At the bus station, some high school girls find Hae-sung cute. Jung-won asks where he is going. He says he will meet Tae-hoon. The girls ask for his number. He says he does not have a phone. Jung-won asks who those girls are. The girls make fun of Jung-won and call her Ajuma, which means a middle-aged married woman. Jung-won feels embarrassed as she gets on the bus. Hae-sung takes the bus to meet Tae-hoon, the manager at the department store. Tae-hoon surprises Hae-sung by introducing his younger sister, Young-in, who also works at the store. When they arrive, they see Young-in being abused by a woman who says Young-in seduced her husband. Young-in faints. Tae-hoon calls an ambulance. At the hospital, Young-in wakes and sees Hae-sung nearby. She thinks it is a dream. She tells him what happened and goes back to sleep. Hae-sung goes to the man who took money from Young-in and demands an apology and the money back. The man threatens to beat Hae-sung. Some high school students enter the shop. Hae-sung picks up a table, ready to fight. The old man appears again and takes Hae-sung outside, grabbing him by the collar. Hae-sung tells him to go away because he has a family. The old man calms down and asks what happened. Hae-sung tells him everything. They go back inside and make the students leave. Then, the old man throws the bad man around until he pees himself. They leave him lying on the floor. Hae-sung asks the old man how he got stronger. The old man says Sung can also get stronger by practicing and that his senses will sharpen. The old man says he came last summer. He tells Sung to do his work because he has to meet his son. Sung sees the old man's son is very sick. The old man says he found his son months after coming back, but could not help him. Meanwhile, at the restaurant, Jung-won accidentally spills water. The chef tells her to clean up. A junior tells her the CEO wants her to go to the supermarket with him. At the supermarket, Jung-won's skills are very good. Suddenly, a forklift rushes toward them. Min-jun saves Jung-won, but another forklift hits Min-jun from the opposite side. Boxes fall on him. Min-jun stands up like nothing happened and picks up a sweet potato thinking it is his phone. He hits his head and falls unconscious. Jung-won takes Min-jun to the hospital. The doctor says the scans are clear and he just needs to rest for 1 or 2 days. Jung-won holds the potato, and Min-jun says people will think she is weird. They go to Min-jun's house, but no one is there. Jung-won asks if he has no family. Min-jun says he has been alone for a long time. At that moment, Jung-won gets a call from Jin-ju. Jin-ju and Hae-sung are waiting for Jung-won at home, but she says she cannot come because of the CEO. Hae-sung wastes no time and quickly goes to the CEO's house. He walks in without knocking and looks around. He tells Min-jun that he seems more normal than other rich kids. Jung-won says she will stay the night, but Hae-sung thinks it is strange for a girl to stay alone with a boy. Jung-won tries to act like an older cousin and tells him to be quiet. Hae-sung insists he will stay, and Min-jun says it is not a big deal. Jung-won still insists, so Hae-sung tells her to go home. Jung-won leaves but feels confused about what to do. In the end, she decides to go home. Back at her apartment, Shin brings a watermelon. Jin-ju thinks it is Jung-won and comes outside after a shower. Suddenly, they see each other, and Jin-ju screams, dropping her towel. Shin sees something he should not have seen. They go to a restaurant, and Jin-ju asks if Shin saw anything. Shin says he did not see anything. Jin-ju warns him that he will be in trouble if he tells anyone. They also agree not to talk for a while. Shin asks if the watermelon was from Brazil, and Jin-ju slaps him on the cheek. Meanwhile, Hae-sung takes care of Min-jun. Min-jun asks what he should call him. Hae-sung says to call him Mr. Sung. Min-jun calls him Young Sung instead. Min-jun asks Sung to cut some apples, and Sung cuts them into heart shapes. Min-jun is impressed. Sung sees a picture but realizes it is a drawing by Jung-won. Min-jun explains that one day, while coming home from work, Jung-won got into his car, thinking it was a taxi. She gave him her address and Min-jun took her home. Instead of money, she gave him the drawing. By chance, Jung-won comes to the same restaurant where Min-jun works and asks for a job. Jung-won does not know about this, so Min-jun asks Sung to keep it a secret. After that, Sung goes back to Jung-won. She is already outside and tells Hae-sung that Cheol has been arrested. At the police station, Hae-cheol is locked in a cage. He asks Shin Ho-bang to let him go, saying he is being framed for beating 2 men. Shin tells him to be quiet and says they will follow the rules now. Jung-won and Sung arrive at the station, and Shin explains the situation. They meet the victims, who have broken necks and noses. Sung talks to Cheol, who says they should check the CCTV, but there is no CCTV where it happened. Jung-won makes everyone uncomfortable and offers cash to settle the case. The culprits agree. Shin thinks about the car's black box and goes to check it. Suddenly, Hae-sung's sharp hearing notices the victims already took the memory card and hid it under a rug. Shin comes back and says he found nothing inside the black box, but Sung interrupts and tells him where to look. Shin goes and finds the SSD card. He frees Cheol and takes the victims into custody. Cheol leaves without thanking anyone. Sung senses something is off. Jung-won tells him to cheer up, and they go to their old place. There, they find a girl standing alone and ask her name. Meanwhile, Hae-cheol goes to the kindergarten to pick up his daughter. The teachers say Gong-ju is gone. She was crying and left while the teacher was inside getting a present. Gong-ju is actually with Hae-sung and Jung-won, but they do not know she is Cheol's daughter. Gong-ju says Jung looks old and asks if they live together because they smell like the same shampoo. After lunch, the 3 go back to the street. Cheol comes rushing to Gong-ju. They go to a park, and Cheol explains that his wife left him alone with Gong-ju, and he is trying to raise her. He thanks Sung for bailing him out and finding his daughter. Sung tells him not to worry because they are brothers. Hae-sung tells Hae-cheol he knows about Young-ji and the other siblings, so they should all gather. Hae-sung feels happy to be a big uncle now. Jung-won starts teasing him. Suddenly, Hae-sung feels strange and has a heart attack. Min-jun and an old man are nearby talking. Jung-won tries to wake Sung up, but he falls unconscious with a severe concussion. About 10 minutes ago, Min-jun meets the old man, who is his father. Min-jun tells him to come to the uncle's funeral because the uncle worked for him as a driver for 20 years. The father tells Min-jun to stop talking and not to lecture him. Min-jun says the father should act like a good dad first and mentions that he never heard the uncle's last words. The father says the uncle would probably ask for more money if he were alive. He tells Min-jun not to bother him with useless things and leaves the restaurant. Right after, Hae-sung has a heart attack, but recovers quickly when Min-jun's father leaves. They walk home, and Jung-won asks if everything is fine, but it is not. The landlady is yelling at a couple for not paying rent for months. Jung-won has not paid rent either, so they quickly leave the area. Jung-won takes Hae-sung to a restaurant. They sneak into the kitchen and start cooking. Jung-won says she has a test soon where the chef will ask her to make lunch for the staff. Before the test, no assistant is allowed to touch anything in the kitchen or they will be fired. Hae-sung understands. Suddenly, Jung-won says the chef is here. Hae-sung looks around but sees no one. Jung-won was just joking to see his reaction. They make pasta and sit down to eat. Hae-sung asks why Jung-won became a chef when she liked drawing more than cooking. Jung-won says she lost herself after hearing about Hae-sung's death because she felt responsible. She wondered what Hae-sung would do if he were alive. Then she remembered he loved cooking. That is why she decided to become a chef. She went to cooking school and came to the restaurant. Cooking is now her passion and she needs money too. Suddenly, Jung-won hears a noise and gets scared. Hae-sung thinks she is lying to get attention. It turns out Min-jun is in the restaurant. Jung-won and Hae-sung hide under the table while Min-jun drinks wine. He tries to call Jung-won for a drink, but deletes the message. A can of black pepper falls and Jung-won shows up, saying she was practicing pasta, but it did not go well. Min-jun is happy to see her and invites her to sit down. He pours wine for her and goes to get another glass. Hae-sung remembers Min-jun telling him Jung-won gets drunk easily, so he gets out and warns her not to drink. He drinks the glass himself and leaves. Min-jun sees the glass empty, and Jung-won says she was thirsty. He pours more wine. Jung-won wonders why her pasta tastes bad even though she used the same recipe. Min-jun says it is not about the car but the driver. He gets up to get snacks. Hae-sung drinks the whole glass again. Going back and forth, Hae-sung ends up drinking the whole bottle and gets drunk. He suddenly appears and stands next to Jung-won. She looks confused and says something about their front door being broken, so they stayed at Min-jun's place for the night. Hae-sung is very dizzy and drunk, so she leaves him there and goes to meet Jin-ju. Jung-won puts cucumber slices on her face and goes outside to do laundry, but leaves the door open. Shin enters the room to apologize. He thinks the woman lying down is Jin-ju. He starts apologizing and says it is no shame to see each other since they are adults. He talks about a Brazilian wax again. Jung-won gets up, unable to take it. Her life flashes before Shin's eyes when Jin-ju appears behind him. She starts beating him, and Shin runs away quickly. The next day, Hae-sung wakes up and finds the ribbon he bought for Jung-won on the day he died. Suji waits for Hae-sung at the department department store, but he does not recognize her and walks past. She calls him and kisses his cheek. Hae-sung thinks these girls are strange. He goes to meet Young-in, who asks him to come upstairs. There, Young-in arrives with Soo-ji. Hae-sung is happy to see both sisters. Tae-hoon joins them, and they thank him for his help. Hae-sung says he has met all his siblings except Young-jun. Young-in tells him he should not meet Young-jun. Tae-hoon gets a call and leaves with his mother to meet the hospital director, who is Young-jun's crush. She calls Young-jun to introduce him. Young-jun notices Tae-hoon but does not say anything. After that, Young-jun goes to the hospital where Hae-sung waits. Young-jun tells Hae-sung to stop acting like an older brother because they are not related by blood. Hae-sung gets angry and knocks Young-jun out. Meanwhile, the old man's son is in serious condition. The doctors want to operate immediately but need consent from a relative. The father cannot help because no one knows about him. The old man cries and says his son is dying and he can do nothing even though he is the father. Back at the restaurant, the chef tells Min-jun to hire a new chef quickly because many orders are coming. Min-jun wants to teach Jung-won, but the chef says they cannot wait for her skills to improve. Min-jun tells Jung-won not to bring anyone into the kitchen because it is not allowed. Slowly, everything begins to fall apart. Hae-sung decides to talk to Young-jun about the old man's father. He says the man's father is in the same bad condition as he is. He is sure the old man is the father. Young-jun looks at the bump and starts talking sharply. He tells Hae-sung to leave and not interfere. He warns him to never come back to the hospital or call him brother again, or he will handle things his own way. Hae-sung agrees to everything and starts crying. He promises to stop coming to the hospital and stop calling Young-jun brother if Young-jun agrees to the surgery. Young-jun stops, stares for a moment, then leaves without a word. The old man thinks his son will die and walks away. At the restaurant, Min-jun is making pasta and asks the chef how many clams are left. Jung-won says they have enough for 5 more servings. Min-jun says they will not serve more pasta. Jung-won smells the clams and knows they are fresh, but Min-jun is testing her. He tells her to stop cooking after the last customer leaves and to pull out the clams. She points out the clams are fresh, and Min-jun already knows that. He teaches her how to cook pasta properly and guides her. Finally, Jung-won makes perfect pasta, tasting just like Min-jun's. He tells her to cook again, but this time without his help. Meanwhile, Hae-sung takes the bus back to Jung-won's place, but sees she is not there yet, so he waits. When the bus arrives, she is still not there. He decides to go to the restaurant. Min-jun tells Jung-won it is too late and she should leave. As she leaves, Min-jun follows her. Hae-sung does not like this. Jung-won says goodbye to the CEO and is surprised to see Hae-sung. He asks why she works so late. Min-jun sees Hae-sung and gets out of his car to meet him. Hae-sung is rude and says he does not want to meet Min-jun again. Hae-sung walks away quickly without letting Jung-won explain. Jung-won tells Hae-sung she had special classes today. Hae-sung thinks Min-jun is a bad CEO and a pervert. He should treat all employees equally. Min-jun asks what is wrong, and they both get on the bus. Hae-sung and Jung-won argue the whole ride home. Jung-won tells Hae-sung to leave since he said he will stay with Moonsik. She goes inside and regrets not telling anyone about the pasta. The next day, Young-jun agrees to perform the surgery. Man-seok is very thankful, but Young-jun stays cold and quiet. Man-seok talks to his son, and surprisingly, his son opens his eyes. The old man cries and apologizes for being a bad father. He hears his son acknowledge him. He feels very happy and tells his son to be strong. He runs to Hae-sung to thank him and advises him to make peace with his brother. Hae-sung tries to meet Young-jun at the hospital, but Young-jun ignores him. At the restaurant, the chef decides to test Jung-won to see if she can become a cook. Min-jun agrees. The chef announces Jung-won will prepare lunch today. Some co-workers know this is a test. Jung-won is ready, having practiced pasta many times. She gives her best effort. Lunch is served, and now comes the evaluation. Min-jun warns the staff not to judge the food just because a beginner made it. A bad review could ruin their reputation and lead to bankruptcy. The workers put onions either on a plate or a pan to decide if she should keep cooking or just clean. Jung-won waits nervously for the results. More onions appear on the plate, meaning many judged the food poorly. She feels sad and apologizes, promising to work harder. Min-jun tells her she did well and leaves, but Jung-won takes the failure hard. Hae-sung calls her and says he wants to meet. Since she is not home, he waits outside. Hae-sung appears outside the restaurant. Shin tells Hae-sung that he contacted the driver who killed him 12 years ago, but the driver's wife was saying something different, so he wonders if the driver really killed Sung. Hae-sung goes to see the old man and wants to train with him. The old man teaches all his tricks to Hae-sung, and he becomes stronger and sharper than ever. Now, he can see people from miles away. Then, Hae-sung asks Man-seok if he ever feels pain in his heart. The old man tells him that the pain means the person who killed you is nearby. It is very strong at first, but gradually fades away, which means there aren't many chances to catch the killer. Jung-won visits Hae Cheol, who is working in a restaurant. A high school kid enters and tells Hai Cheol's boss to fire him since he is a murderer's brother. Hai Cheol gets pissed and swings a chair at them, so the duo runs away. Suddenly, Hai Sung enters the restaurant and starts scolding Cheol, but Cheol doesn't have the guts to say anything, so he storms out. The next day, Hae Sung sees Man Seok with wet eyes and asks what happened. Man Seok says his son has passed away. They go to the hospital for a final look, and Yong Jun sees them too. The old man sits down and tells Hae Sung that he has been feeling weak lately, and maybe his time is close. He explains that not everyone has equal time. Some live for a month, and some for years, so they should do what they want while they can. Hae Sung's heart skips a beat because he wasn't expecting to die again. He starts wandering the hospital when agonizing pain rips through him. He remembers the middle-aged man's words. When you feel that pain, it means someone connected to your death is nearby. He knows the person connected to his death is here. At the same moment, Tae-hoon's parents enter the hospital and Hae Sung stops at the entrance. He knows his killer is nearby, but suddenly, he looks at his watch because he promised Young Won to meet her at the fireworks. Young Won is also leaving the restaurant but sees an old woman struggling with a cart rushing downhill. She stops the cart, but some papers spill on the ground. Min Jun sees this and comes to help, but suddenly, a speeding car comes out of nowhere and hits Min Jun. Jung Won looks at him in horror because she doesn't want to lose another person, thanks to Kar-kun. Young Won quickly takes him to the hospital and spends time with him before leaving, while Hae Sung is looking for Jung Won in the park. Only a couple of minutes are left before the fireworks, but she doesn't arrive, so Hae Sung spends the night alone, just like you. Min Jun tells Young Won to go wherever she wants since it's too late and he will be fine. Jung Won runs to the park, but by the time she arrives, the fireworks are already over, and there is nobody there except Hae Sung. He is sitting alone with a sad face, so Young Won explains everything. She picks up 2 candy sticks and tries to cheer him up. They end up smiling, laughing, and enjoying a beautiful dinner. When they return to the apartment, they watch a movie together, but Hae Sung makes a move to kiss her. Suddenly, the alarm clock rings. Young Won wakes up, and it turns out her wet dreams have turned into a dry reality. Meanwhile, Hae Sung decides to go to the hospital once again to find the killer, but finds nothing. After that, he tries the department store, but still there are no signs of pain. As soon as he leaves the building, the agonizing pain comes back, and Hae Sung starts looking around. But the main culprit is sitting in a car. Tae-hoon's father sees Hae Sung and is shocked to see a dead man walking. He shit his pants, thinking Hae Sung is looking for him. As the car drives away, Hyung's pain vanishes. The next day, the old man appears outside Hae Sung's place, and the landlady pops up too. She demands her money and threatens to kick them out. Suddenly, the poor hag trips, but Man Seok catches her. The landlady is flattered and agrees to give them more time. Her eyes sparkle as she compliments Man Seok's strength. But Hae Sung still doesn't know how to make money, so the old man tells him about a ginseng root he found previously. After returning, he went back to the same location where his boat had sunk and, to his surprise, found the root. He sold it for millions, which paid his son's medical expenses and bills. The remaining amount is still safe in his locker, so he wants to give it to Hae Sung. Hae Sung uses the money to pay Jung Won's debt, since she took care of his grandma. That night, Jung Won is very happy and decides to take Hae Sung to a movie. But he is still a teenager, so they end up going back to the apartment to watch a movie. Jung Won gets flashbacks of her dream. She closed her eyes and leaned in for a kiss. The next day, Hae Sung tries to get the family back together, but Yong In doesn't want to see Hae Cheol's face, and neither does Soo Ji. Yong In tells Hae Sung that Cheol stole the necklace their mother had given her, and even in hard times, she didn't sell it because it was her mother's last memory. But Hae Cheol didn't care and sold the necklace for some money. Sung gets pissed, so he goes to the car wash and asks why he would do such a thing. Hae Cheol says he was a thief back then and needed money, so he sold it. At night, Sung takes Soo Ji and Yong In to a restaurant when suddenly Hae Cheol arrives. Yong In gets pissed to see him and wants to leave immediately, but stays to listen to his reasons. Cheol gives Yong the savings he has been collecting. He tells Yong In that he has been saving money ever since he left, hoping he might be able to repay her someday. Cheol explains that he was poor and Gong Ju was just born. Their mother left them alone and he had to pay for bills, diapers, and food, so he had no other option. Suddenly, Gong Ju comes with a cake to celebrate her Nuna's birthday. Yong In's anger vanishes, and she accepts Hae Cheol's apology. Hae Sung becomes aware that he is experiencing the same excruciating pain once more, but with less intensity, when seeing the woman he loves. He knows his chances are limited. He hurries to the eatery, hoping to find the person responsible for his death. The ache stops when a car drives away. He has lost another chance. He goes to Young to apply for a kitchen assistant position. He wants to wait for the person to reappear at the eatery. Young-won shows him to Min-jun and the staff. He gets the job if he can come up with a new dish that impresses them, so they decide to give him a chance. Young-won assumes the noises she hears the following morning are from new neighbors, but it turns out that Shin is moving in next door. Hae-sung relies on his sense of taste and smell to come up with ideas for the new dish. Together, they develop a special clam and beef pasta that matches the delicate flavor of clams with the robust flavor of beef. Young-won is astounded. Hae-sung gets the position because his clam and beef pasta is so popular. Young-won gives him a necklace which she had purchased for him 12 years prior as a celebration gift. She accidentally kisses him on the cheek as she sneezes while putting the clasp on. Embarrassed, she rushes out with an excuse and runs to her room. Hae-sung is convinced the person connected to his death will return to the restaurant. He promises to find his killer for his siblings before he has to depart, so they may live as proudly as possible. Customers are almost licking their plates clean of his spaghetti, which is a big hit. Young-won, however, seems depressed and even injures herself while slicing food. She tells Min-jun that she spotted a classmate from high school at the restaurant, which made her think of her boyfriend, who passed away in a vehicle accident 12 years ago. She admits she has been so happy ever since Hae-sung came around that she forgot about that incident. If her friend were still alive, he would be 31 years old, just like her, Shin and Tae-hoon. Young-won tells Jin-ju that she can't face Hae-sung because he has been getting all the praise and she feels jealous. But Jin-ju says this must be Hae-sung's fate, so she should not think too much. The next day, Young-won calls Jin-ju to get some medicine since she is really sick. Jin-ju grabs the medicine and finds Ho-bang and Hae-sung. She gives the medicine to Hae-sung and tells him to take good care of Young-won. He goes inside Young's apartment and gives her the medicine. Young-won wakes up and feels sparkles after seeing her young boyfriend. Hae-sung advises her to rest and not think too much about the fever. She goes back to sleep and wakes up in the evening. She steps outside for some fresh air and sees Hae-sung sitting on the stairs. They decide to go on a walk for a change of environment. And it is a beautiful walk. A walk you will never have with your girlfriend. And they also did something your ex never did with you. The next day, Hae-sung and Jung-won decide to go on a photo spree. They want to create all the memories they promised each other. First, they go to a coffee shop to get a picture. After that, they put some fake autumn leaves to make it look like the autumn season. Then they go to the Iceland and use snow sprinkles as fake snow. After a long day, they come back to the apartment, and Hae-sung tells her to put the photos on her fridge. The next day, Shin Ho-bang tells them that a large party will be held the coming week, where all the members of the Chengong Association will be present. This is the perfect opportunity to find the culprit, but it is an invite-only event, so Hae-sung needs to think creatively. He goes to Tae-hoon and offers his restaurant's catering services. Tae-hoon calls the management, and Hae-sung gets a chance to get in. The sous chef announces that they will be responsible for the association's dinner, but can only take one assistant. Hae-sung and Young-won agree to go, but only one spot is available, so they decide to settle it in a chicken fight. Hae-sung has his priorities set, so he uses all his strength to crush his opponent. Young-won falls to the ground, and Sung is the winner, but Young-won is angry at him. At night, as Shin and Sung decide to go to the movies, they find Young-won sitting outside. She asks if Sung is happy after hitting a woman, but Sung says he believes in equal rights. Shin shows her the tickets and says they are going to watch a movie for free, but Young-won spoils their fun by revealing the ending of the movie. Finally, the day arrives, and Hae-sung goes to the catering event with his staff. He looks around but can't feel any pain. However, he starts feeling a little. He rushes out in distress, and the pain keeps getting stronger. Finally, he opens the door to find the killer, who turns out to be Tae-hoon's father. Chairman Cha's expression changes as if he has seen a ghost. He starts yelling, asking what the hell Sung wants, and Sung asks if he is the one who killed him. Chairman Cha says he has no proof, so Sung says that he is the proof himself. Chairman Cha feels exposed, so he pretends to faint and is taken to the hospital. Hae-sung watches all this but keeps wondering what he can do to prove his innocence. He asks Shin if there's any way to remove the driver's name, and Shin remembers that the driver's wife might know something. Meanwhile, Hae Cheol is hanging banners around town about the incident from 12 years ago. That night, Min-ju treats Hae-sung to a meal, but they end up eating almost the whole menu. The next day, his aunt calls Min-ju and asks her to meet at the charnel house. It turns out that during that night, Min-jun received an urgent call and missed the memorial for his dead uncle. When he went to the prison to meet his uncle gave him a blue ribbon and told Min-jun to return it to the victim's family. He had been keeping it but didn't know who to give it to. Shin tells Hae-sung that he got a call from a strange number wanting to meet him. He meets the person, thinking it might be a witness, but it turns out to be Min Jun. He says he isn't a witness, but is the nephew of the driver who caused the accident. Hae-sung reveals that he has some evidence someone else might be responsible for the high schooler's death, and adds that he used to be that kid's friend. Min Jun asks who the culprit might be, and Hae-sung says it could be Chairman Cha. However, they still need solid evidence from the wife. Min Jun is shocked to realize his father's car was involved in the death. Hae-sung gets the ribbon from Ho Bang and examines it because it doesn't look 12 years old. He decides to give it to Jung Won, who's happy to have something Hae-sung decided to give 12 years ago. Hae-sung confronts Chairman Cha and tells him to confess everything because the driver's wife is on her way and he will soon be exposed. Cha thinks he's caught but wants Sung to run away so he can manipulate Huang's wife. He tells Sung that he killed him but didn't do anything to Kyung Cheol. Sung asks who the real culprit is. Cha says his brother Young Jun is the one who killed Cheol. Cha had been paying for Young Jun's medical tuition and gives the records to Sung. Hae-sung gets the records and rushes to the hospital. He confronts Young Jun and asks if he has been taking money from Chairman Cha. Young Jun is shocked to hear this since the chairman told him they would keep it between them. However, Young Jun stays silent, confirming to Sung that he is the one who killed Kyung Cheol. One day, Shin Ho Bang gets a call from someone who wants to meet him in person. It turns out that this person is actually Kyung Cheol's brother. He tells Shin that something strange happened that night. He didn't want this case to continue, but after seeing Shin's banner, he might be able to find the real killer of his brother. He explains that Kyung Cheol got a call from the arts teacher, who told him to meet her at the school at night. Kyung Cheol didn't know the teacher well, but still decided to go. Shin wonders why an art teacher would summon Kyung Cheol, who wasn't even an art student, to the art room. The next day, Shin confronts the first teacher and asks if she knows anything about this. She gets agitated, anxious, and confused, saying she has nothing to do with it and that she gets traumatized every time she hears about it. Then, Shin questions another teacher, who admits to calling Kyung Cheol, but only to reprimand him for hiding cigarettes in the art room. She told Kyung Cheol to meet her at the back of the school because she had found cigarettes in his art room locker. However, she confirms that someone else also entered the school with Kyung Cheol, and he had a cast on his right arm. Jung Won recalls a student who was wearing a cast. When they return to her apartment, they discover his photo, Dong Seok, in their yearbook. Ho Bang grabs the yearbook and says, "I'll find him." At the very least, he sees Dong Seok as a crucial witness or a primary suspect. Sung remembers Chairman Cha's accusation that the murderer was Young Jun. He asks himself, why would he lie? What is he hiding? The following day, Ho Bang informs Sung that they discovered 2 sets of fingerprints, Sung's and an unidentified print, on the statue that killed Kyung Cheol. Dong Seok had moved to Canada after that incident, which makes him a suspect. As Dong Seok was leaving the art academy, Jung Won confronted him and introduced herself. She tells him that they had been talking about him and asks what happened that night. He explains that Kyung Cheol said he wanted to meet Tae-hun in the art room and asked him to come along. He received a phone call and excused himself. Young Won rushes to tell Sung about this and tells him that Tae-hun was there with Kyung Cheol. Sung tries to connect all the dots. He wonders why Chairman Cha is framing Young Jun as the murderer and what he would gain from this. Ho Bang also tells him about the 2 fingerprints found on the statue, one from Hae-sung and one from an unknown person. Dong Seok had moved to Canada after the incident and then to the US, but Ho Bang sees no record of him entering Korea again. Sung realizes that Chairman Cha might be protecting Tae-hun, and, in reality, Tae-hun could be the murderer. He confronts Tae-hun and asks what happened that night. Tae-hun's eyes tear up. He tells him that Kyung Jun and Sung fought in the morning, and after that, he told Kyung Cheol not to touch him. But Kyung Cheol told him to come to the art room at night, so he went there and Kyung Cheol arrived with Dong Seok. However, Kyung Cheol grabbed him by the collar, so Tae-hun pushed him away. He ran off but heard a loud thud after pushing him. He came back to check on him but found that he was already dead. He ran away and called his father. The next day, Hae-sung was framed as the murderer. Hae-sung had already died, so there was no point in apologizing. Tae-hun still apologized profusely. Sung couldn't believe his childhood friend would betray him. He walked away. Meanwhile, Dong Seok came to the art gallery again. Hae-sung notices him and runs after that bastard, but Dong Seok vanishes. The security camera footage confirms it was really Dong Seok. Ho Bang thinks Dong Seok changed his citizenship, which is why there's no record of him entering Korea again. He suspects Dong Seok might feel guilty about what he did to Young Won, which is why he came back. But if Dong Seok was the killer, wasn't Tae-hun the one who pushed Kyung Cheol? Shin Ho-bang checks the records and sees that Kyung Cheol was punched with a left hand. There was also an unknown fingerprint on the statue. Since Dong Seok had a cast on his right hand, he must be the one who punched Kyung Cheol. Tae-hoon calls Shin Ho-bang and says he wants to meet at the police station. Just as he is about to enter the station and confess everything, Hae-sung arrives and stops him. Tae-hoon explains that he was on the phone but saw Dong Seok going upstairs. When he went into the art room, Kyung Cheol grabbed him, so he pushed him and ran away. He heard a big thud from the art room but didn't return immediately. He thought the statue had fallen on Kyung Cheol's head and that Kyung had died. Hae-sung asks if Tae-hoon accidentally punched Kyung Cheol with his left hand, but Tae-hoon disagrees, saying he only pushed him. When Hae-sung asks when Tae-hoon returned to the room again, Tae-hoon says it was about 5 to 10 minutes later. Young-won was sorting through some belongings from an old box when she found a camera. She plays Hae-sung's video and freezes when Hae-sung tells her in the video that by the time she gets it, he might be gone. Suddenly, Hae-sung enters the room and greets her cheerfully, but Young-won asks what kind of nonsense this is. She asks if he wants her to suffer again after his disappearance, and why he is abandoning her again. Tears start to roll down her cheeks and she runs away. She stays the night at Jinju's place, while Hae-sung waits for her on her balcony. The next day she returns and this time shows a video of herself apologizing for her rude behavior. Meeting Hae-sung was a blessing for Young-won, and she says the blessing won't go away even if Hae-sung leaves her. Hae-sung accepts her apology, and Jung-won wants to spend the remaining time together. That night, Shin, Sung, and Jung go for a walk, but Shin asks Jung-won how Dong Seok found her art gallery. She explains that instead of giving her a card, Dong Seok is also the lawyer for Hae Cheol's wife, who left him. He was the one who won the case for Namu Min against Hae Cheol. They tell Hae Cheol everything about this. Now they need the fingerprint left on the statue so they can reopen the case. Jung-won decides to talk with Namu Min, who agrees to bring Dong Seok to a cafe. They inform Hae Cheol about it, so he disguises himself and manages to get the fingerprint. However, Dong Seok notices, but Namu Min distracts him. Dong Seok quickly turns around, but by the time he does, Hae Cheol is already gone. Hae Cheol gives the fingerprint to Ho-bang and the print matches. Dong Seok is the only one who fits the description of the killer. Shin notices that Dong Seok is trying to flee the country, so he catches him at the airport. Dong Seok claims that it's all a lie and that he saw Hae-sung killing Kyung Cheol. Suddenly, Hae-sung appears, and all of Dong Seok's plans fall apart. He collapses to the ground like he's seen a ghost. The case is reopened, and Dong Seok is found guilty. Chairman Cha returns to Hae-sung to ask for forgiveness and says he will confess, but Hae-sung tells him to live a better life and help others. All the siblings go on a road trip, but Hae-sung reveals that he will be leaving soon. They start crying, but it's all fine now since their elder brother has played his role. Young and Sung stay together for the remaining time, and all their friends take a picture together. This is the first time in 12 years that they are truly happy. Hae-sung and Young-won go to the tree where they used to sit every day, and Sung puts a ring on Young-won's finger. Suddenly, he starts becoming transparent. Both of them know it is time to say goodbye. They hug each other tightly, but neither lets go, knowing this is the last time. Then, Hae-sung vanishes. Everyone is happy in their own lives, and a couple of years pass. Young-won still comes back to the same location where she last saw Hae-sung and sees his shadow standing beside her with a smile. She knows that no matter where he is, Hae-sung is happy.